Hey everyone, before we dive into today's episode, I want to share our newest feature that we just launched inside of my 10X Redemption Tracker. Redemption Tracker lets you log your trips along with the redemptions that you made for those trips. You can log things like, what points did you use? Did you transfer them from any bank? Did you get a transfer bonus when you did? And some of the best parts about that is that it's automatically going to calculate the cents per point for you. So that way you no longer have to try and decide how to calculate it. Is this right? It just does that for you. There's some additional features that I really love about Redemption Tracker that I was glad that the team included, like the ability to indicate which credit card you used to pay the taxes and fees. This is great if you need to come back to it because you need to make an insurance claim later. I actually thought about this because I had to make an insurance claim while we were talking about what we were going to build and realized I spent so much time trying to figure out which credit card I used to pay for the trip that it would have been easier if I just had it logged in one place. So really excited to have that. One of the best features as well is the ability to share the trip. You can generate a shareable URL where you can share it with friends, people traveling with you, and our 10X Travel Insiders Facebook group, or wherever you can post a URL. Don't worry, you can hide sensitive information like the name, the dates, and the flight numbers, so that way you can share your redemption without people necessarily being able to follow along. To celebrate the launch of Redemption Tracker, we're doing a big giveaway. Until February 28th, whenever you log redemptions for each trip you log in the Redemption Tracker, you get entered to win up to $1,000 for your next trip. It's really easy. Just log a trip and start tracking those entries. If you want bonus entries, share your trips after you log them. For each trip that you share, you'll get bonus entries into the giveaway. So go log your trips, redeem those points, share it with friends, and who knows, maybe you'll be the lucky winner of our grand prize. So head to the link in the show notes to check out the new feature and enter the giveaway. Welcome to Takeoff, a Points and Miles podcast by 10X Travel. You might be wondering why Bryce sounds different, and that's because I am stepping in as host today. Don't worry, Bryce is here. I just had an idea for an episode, and I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to just kind of get our gut reactions as we go.
I think I know where we're going with this, right? We're definitely trading personas, because if you're starting off and you're Bryce, that means I'm Travis. So hold on, let me get started. I love United Airlines more than anything in the world. Texas is amazing. Everywhere except for the Maldives is not cool. And plaid is definitely acceptable wear at least 10 months of the year. Do I have this right?
I couldn't have done it better myself. Oh, and we are also joined by Emily as well. Emily, good to have you here today.
Thanks. I don't know whose persona I am today, but I'll just be along for the ride.
I'm doing a bad job at the standard at the intro that Bryce usually does. If you're new, here we go. If you're new here, or you're just simply wanting a refresher, check out episodes 1 through 6, which is kind of our course in audio version. There is a somewhat updated version of the course, mostly just removing a bit of the fluff that you can access inside of my 10X. So my.10xtravel.com. You'll find the course there as well if you don't want to listen to us talk about it. I figured if you're already here at the podcast, you're open to hearing us talk about it. But I'm not here to tell you what to do. In today's episode, you're not going to learn anything about points and miles. This is just kind of a fun one for us. We're tackling some of the most controversial topics in travel today. We're talking travel faux pas. We're going to dig in to some of the worst, most controversial takes. See where we stand. Maybe we differ. Everything from overcrowded overhead bins to window shade wars. We'll share our personal pet peeves and tips. So that way, if you ever see us on a plane, you know how to annoy us or how to be our best friend.
Okay. Well, the preview I got of this topic led me in a different direction, so I am still completely unprepared.
Perfect. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be like mistakes we've made while traveling. So I'll just delete my notes.
Yeah.
This is fine, though. We can make this work.
Yeah, I mean, it's we spend a lot of time teaching people how to travel smart. Sometimes it's just important. I don't want to say what not to do, but you see the crowd kind of jumping on people when they do stuff like not wearing shoes on a plane. Maybe we're all in alignment on that. Maybe we're not. So just kind of sharing from our personal perspectives, like where we stand with or without shoes on these topics. So I think this is going to be a fun one. If you don't want to have fun with us, then we'll see you next episode. But today's is just going to be some fun, lively debate between us to see where we stand on things. So I hope y'all are excited. Like I said, Bryce and Emily didn't get any outline for this, so everything here is going to be off the cuff. I'm the only one who
take my shoes off before we continue this episode, just to get in character here.
Yeah, are y'all ready? I'm
ready.
Yeah,
I am more ready than the people in Zone 7 who are lined up at the gate.
Ooh.
Boom.
Start.
That's going to come up at some point.
It is on here. Our first section today is going to be about airline seat and cabin etiquette. So our first question to the panel, the great seat recline debate. How much recline is too much? Do you ask? When is it appropriate? Should you recline? Should you not recline? The floor is y'all's. Who's got a strong opinion on this and wants to take it?
If you recline your seat on a daytime domestic flight of less than 4 hours, I am upset with you. Straight up. The one exception is that if you kind of have the look of someone who's on the last leg of an international itinerary, I'm generally a little more sympathetic. Like you're rocking the I'm here for comfort, not looks, and I look like a raccoon because I've been up for 3 straight days. I understand. But if you very clearly are just flying from Columbus to Chicago and you think that now is a great time to recline your seat while I'm trying to work on my laptop, I am upset with you. And I'm going to turn on my my air vent and point it straight at the top of your head.
Ooh.
Oh.
Was that nuanced enough of a take?
Maybe I'll have to add that one onto the list of, is it okay for someone to turn their air nozzle and point it straight at your head?
Retaliatory action is always acceptable.
Man. Okay, Emily, how's your passion about this one?
So I'm not a recliner. Like I don't recline. It doesn't really add any value for me. But there is always the immediate annoyance of someone in front of you reclining, but then I usually forget about it in a couple minutes. So I'm not quite as angry about it. But I also am not a big laptop user on planes, so I could see how that would get very annoying if someone's reclining into your laptop. But I'm usually Kindle or craning my neck down to look at my tiny phone. So,
I actually got a thing for my phone. They can kind of clip onto the seat. No, not over the seat where it's bothering the person.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work on every flight, but it clips on and then uses MagSafe to hold my phone there for me. I'll send you an Amazon link.
So if someone reclines, is your phone pointing down at that point?
Well, I can adjust it. So.
Or they could not recline.
Or they cannot recline, yeah. So short haul flights, if you have medical necessity, by all means, please recline, and don't feel like you have to disclose that to me. As strongly as I feel about reclining, I'm not going to ask you about it, right? I'm not going to be hey, why are you reclining? But here's the thing. You guys see me on the podcast. I'm almost 6.5 feet tall. I'm long-legged. My legs take up a lot of space already. They're already in the back of your seat. If you try to recline, you're probably not even going to be able to because it's just reclining into my legs. I've had flight attendants called on me before because someone thought I had my feet up, stopping them from reclining their seat. No, you're just causing me pain in my knees.
It's just my legs.
So it's just my legs.
Oh my God.
I try to fly. I try to get extra legroom seats, because then if someone reclines, it's not the same. But in general, short haul flights, I'm with Bryce. I'm anti-recline. Maybe not as passionately as he is, but that's my stance. So it seems like
recline is on the decline.
Yeah. Well, so your comment about your knees made me think of something, which is that like the seats have definitely been getting like thinner, like cushion wise.
Yep.
So now it's to the point where like I can feel when someone puts something in the seat back pocket, like you put your water bottle there or like anything in there, and I'm just like, I can feel that on my back, and that's not nice.
Yeah.
So now we're team don't use the seat back pocket, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Just sit and stare.
Yeah.
and keep your long knees to yourself.
Yeah.
So the great seat recline debate seems like it's a 3-0 for short haul, no reclining. Sorry if you disagree with that. But
if you're following on YouTube, hit us in the comments with your thoughts too.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear from someone on Team Recline.
Yeah. I
should have found steel man that argument.
Yeah.
I should have found a gavel and been like, it is decided 3-0 decision. All right, next one. I think this one shouldn't be controversial, but I don't know about y'all sometimes. All right, armrest. Who gets the middle armrest? Is it like how do you divvy those up?
Middle seat gets both.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say anything if because I usually end up in the middle seats because Michael loves the window and I don't care enough. Like I like the aisle, but it's just because I like to be able to get up without having to ask somebody. Mm-hmm. But so I always end up in the middle, and usually I don't get both armrests, and that frustrates me, but I don't say anything. I'd almost rather, like, if Michael and I are sitting next to each other, then I just lose the armrest.
Put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that too.
Yeah.
You make a suite.
Yeah.
The Southwest suite.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although Maria likes the window, I like the aisle, so we just force someone else to sit between us. That's their prerogative.
Yeah.
This one's pretty easy to me. The middle seat also gets both armrests. So again, a 3-0 decision on armrest, but if for some reason people feel otherwise, this is one that I generally feel is pretty settled, but if you feel otherwise, let us know in the comments. The middle seat already is in the middle. They should just get both. You're not going to convince me otherwise. All right, our last one on seat and cabin etiquette, and I think this one might be the most controversial. Barefoot in shoe removal. Is it permitted? Is it permitted with socks on, off? You know what? I'll go first. I've made y'all go first. Short haul flights, again, just leave your shoes on, right? If it's a short flight, just leave them all. Just leave them on. But long haul flights, right? Especially where you're looking to sleep on the flight, it's totally fine. I also think it's totally fine if you don't want socks on. They come in, they clean, they disinfect the planes between people. If you don't want to wear socks on a 16-hour flight, don't. Now, I do think it's weird if for some reason you're walking around barefoot, but if you're in your own seat and you don't want your shoes and socks on, I don't get why people care, as long as you're not sticking them in other people's faces or rubbing them on the food tray or something. As long as you're just trying to be comfortable, I don't get why people make such a big deal about it.
Watching someone walk barefoot into an airplane bathroom is something that will never leave my mind.
Yeah. Only
barefoot though? Is socks a problem for you?
I mean, the socks would be kind of weird to walk into the bathroom with as well, but I'm fine with just socks on the plane. Barefoot's kind of weird, but I'm also then do you rule out sandals? Can people not fly with sandals because your feet are basically bare?
Exactly.
So
although I think I'm with Bryce. I think it's worse if you wear socks into the airplane bathroom.
Yeah.
Because then if there's any liquids on the ground, they absorb them.
Yeah. I mean, both are pretty disgusting.
Yeah. That's a new wrinkle. Anyway, Emily, what's your take on footwear or lack thereof on planes?
I I mean, I guess I get the short haul leave your shoes on situation, but this might just be a me thing, but my feet swell on airplanes all the time. So if I'm wearing like sneakers and I'm uncomfortable, I would rather just take them off. But yeah, usually I'm not like a fly in sandals type of person. Usually sneakers. Are you?
Yeah.
And then you rub the food tray in between your toes. Gross.
Oh my gosh.
I get a sense from Bryce here that Bryce is very much like, just leave your shoes on, guys.
No,
Y'all are embarrassing me.
I have a bit of a nuanced take on this. I am fine with shoes being taken off, and I generally don't care if you walk to the bathroom without shoes or whatever. Like, yes, I understand that is a little gross, but it feels like that's not the grossest thing on airplanes. But I feel like you can take your footwear off as long as your feet stay on the ground.
Yeah.
But the moment you like cross your legs and your bare or socked foot is right next to me, or worse, if you put them up and like on the armrest in front of you, like I had someone once snuggle my elbow with a socked foot.
Oh,
They were like sleeping and they kind of just like their foot just like tucked between my elbow and the edge of the plane, and I was like, yeah, nope. Yeah. So, but as long as it's on the ground, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, as long as it's your space, right? Like, you're not encroaching it on anybody else's space or environment, which, like, business or first class long haul makes it really easy. If you have kind of your own section, like, who cares, right? Who cares? But yeah, if you're in economy and you're putting it up on the phone, oh God, I'm just cringing at the idea of just turning and seeing someone's foot there, just like touching me.
Yeah, no. No, thank you.
Or the classic like bulkhead row, take off shoes, bare feet up on the bulkhead.
See, I don't mind that.
Really?
I don't do it. Let me be clear. I don't do it. I don't do it, but I don't really have a problem with it, right? For who's it bothering? You're just seeing it. They're cleaning the plane, you know?
Who's it bothering? Bryce's hand to the sky.
Me. Yeah.
Like, if it bothers you, if you're flying in that bulkhead, when you get the little like wipe that you get now, just wipe down the bulkhead with it. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Not the hill I'll die on.
So we have some leniency on shoes on and off, with and without socks. The line is when it starts encroaching on other people and other travelers. So.
Oh yeah.
There you have it. That one I feel like people feel very strongly of, like, just leave your shoes on, don't take them off.
It's a fair point.
Let's talk about, is it okay to put a personal item in the overhead bin if you don't have a carry-on?
I'm actually not sure how I feel about this.
I would do it. I don't know if it's okay, but I would do it. Especially, well, I travel with the e-bag, the 10X travel e-bag. So then I'm like, are people gonna see that and think I'm supposed to have better travel etiquette than putting my personal item in the overhead bin?
Well, that's a pretty big bag, though. It feels like
is a big
there's a
bag.
size cutoff.
Yeah.
Like a personal item that's a large backpack is one thing versus like setting a small food carryout bag or like a shopping bag in there. Feels like it's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like once again, there's a 2-layer take here. I am okay with it as long as that person forfeits the right to complain if I adjust it. Like if I show up there and I think I can make my bag fit, I'm not going to gingerly take your bag and kind of pick it up and move it. I'm going to slide it and move it and slide my bag in. And you have to accept that if you are trying to use the overhead bin for a personal item.
Yeah, I do agree. I'm very strongly, if you don't have a carry-on, you can, and you're in a ticket class where you're entitled to putting something in the overhead space, you can use it. I get that it might inconvenience people boarding later who need to check stuff, but like, it's just as, that space is just as much yours as it is theirs. And if you're not helping anyone if you just pack a bigger bag, so that way you can justify putting it up there, especially like a backpack. If I see bags laying on their side like that, if I need the space and I actually have a carry-on, turn it up on its side, right? I try to do that with mine to minimize the space it takes, but again, my perspective comes from a tall person. Like a backpack there impedes a lot of my foot space where I can't like move my legs at all during the flight. So if I don't have a carry-on, I don't mind using that space for my personal item. And some people disagree with me on that and say that it should only be for overhead bags, but I think that like it's totally fine. I do kind of agree with you though, Bryce. Like if it's like just a really small handbag where it's like you can definitely like move your feet around it, and I don't know, maybe that's a little, because like men generally aren't carrying small handbags, so maybe it's a little bit, I don't know if discriminatory is the right word, but I'm going to throw it out there. But even then, like, right, that's small enough, like Bryce said, you could just set it on top of something else if you really needed the space. Like, you could just put it on top of someone else's bag, and it would be fine.
Yeah. The other layer of this, too, is if you're going to put your personal item up there, but it has a bunch of stuff that you need to access throughout the flight, like, oh, now I want my Kindle or my headphones or my laptop, and you have to keep getting up and moving other people because you put your personal item up there, then that's annoying.
So would you rather them get up, or would you rather them put it in the seat back pocket and that way you're feeling it while you're sitting there?
They can put it in the seat back pocket. If I'm in the aisle and I have to keep getting up for them to get other stuff, put it in the seat back pocket. It's fine.
I feel like as a general rule, like a little offshoot kind of pet peeve of that is like your rate of getting up and making others get up and let you leave should not exceed 0.5 times per hour. Like once per every 2 hours is about reasonable. Any faster means you probably poorly planned in some regard. And I get frustrated. And then a second offshoot issue with the overhead carry-on one, I'm curious your thoughts on this. If you are like in a situation where you had to put your carry-on and overhead bin like 8+ rows behind you, is it your responsibility to wait for that many rows to kind of clear and make your way up? Or do you ask like, hey, it's the black bag that says Bryce on it, pull it out and have like 6 people hand it up like old school fireman line style?
It's your responsibility to wait.
Agreed, but no one waits.
No.
If it's like 2 rows back and you can just point and be like, could you grab that for me? Fine. But if you have to, if it's got to pass through multiple other people's hands, you got to wait your turn.
Yeah. If there are certainly exceptions. If you have a really tight connection, like do what you can to make your connection. We've all been there. It's stressful enough. But if you have a long enough connection, or you're at your place, like just wait, because eventually it's going to get back there and people are going to break while they're getting their stuff, and there's plenty of time for you to walk back and get it. The worst is the people who are trying to push through. Yeah. Right. It's like 8 rows back and their row has gone, so now they're trying to push through everyone to get back there to get to it. Just like a little bit of patience. Which brings us to our next one. Is it what's your takes on people standing up as soon as the seatbelt sign comes off? I'm good with it.
I do it.
Yeah.
But the caveat is you have to stay in your space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like stand up, especially I feel like Travis, long knees that we talked about, like I'm in a similar boat. Like that's not a comfortable position to be in. The moment I can stand up, I want to, but the moment you start trying to cut up in the aisle and blocking other people from getting out, that's when most people, I'd say, are rolling their eyes at you.
Yeah, I agree. I have no problem with it. I think it's something that people make way too big a deal about. It's like, of course, like if you're in the window seat and you're expecting to stand up and be in the aisle standing up straight or something, then have realistic expectations. But if you're already in the aisle, like, and you want to stand up, just stand up. Like, I don't get why people make such a big deal about it, but I do agree, if you've got the room, stay in your space. Don't get in other people's way.
I'm on the other side of the coin there when it comes to like boarding. I feel like it'd be like cool if everyone would just sit until your boarding group is called and then stand up. Same problem.
Well, that brings us to our next one then. All right. I call them gate lice.
Gate lice.
Just like flooding the boarding area, waiting for their group when they're in like group 7. Like,
they're always in group 7.
Is it, I guess the question is it appropriate to criticize people for that, or should we just accept that it's a fact of life?
Both. I feel like criticize because, to be clear, it's because they generally slow down the rest of the process.
Yeah.
Right. They're generally standing right in the way, and boarding group 2 is being called, and people are having to kind of cut around them, and it just everyone would board the plane faster if they weren't in the way. And I feel like a lot of people also just don't understand boarding procedures. You see this, I think, with folks who are like in like zone like 3. Not realizing like zone 1 and 2 have more people than just like first class passengers. This is all your status folks, a lot of your card holders. So they see like 5 or 6 people board and like, oh, it's probably done now. And they just cut over into the priority lane and just stand there. And then they make people like us who are redeeming our points to fly in premium cabin have to be rude and be like, excuse me, I need to get around you. So yeah, I'm team, please stay out of everyone's way. It's not a race. Because I'm just picturing there's like the anti-hero to everything we're discussing. Like someone in group 7 is waiting to board and put their personal item in the overhead bin quickly so that they can take off their shoes faster, and also put those in the overhead bin so that they can prop them up on the back of Travis's seat. That person is who drives us nuts.
It's one. Go ahead, Emily.
No, you go.
I was going to say, it feels like one of those catch-22 of, I understand why people do it, right? Because a lot of people are opposed to checking bags, and so they want to put their bag in the seat, like kind of right above them. And so the sooner they can get on board, the easier it is for them, which helps potentially alleviate those other problems of it being 8 rows behind them. Like, I just feel like just take a seat, wait till your group is called, because you're not getting on any sooner anyways.
And you know what else those people do while they're in the airport? They're the ones who Starbucks mobile order and then literally stand right next to the little counter when they just placed an order for like 15 different sandwiches, and you're like, yo, maybe sit in the back, wait for your name to be called.
I think we might have done that once, Bryce, in Salt Lake City. I think you ordered. I think we mobile ordered 3 coffees, and you ended up with 4 in a stack.
I did.
But yeah, we stayed clear from the counter.
I had mobile order boarding position 1. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I do try to give deference on it and understand that generally people in later boarding groups are probably not frequent travelers. They're not used to it, and they're just either excited to get on their plane to get to their destination. They're probably much more anxious, right? They're the people who've already been at the airport for 2.5 hours instead of me who's getting there and I'm like, okay, my plane boards in 8 minutes and I'm still in the security line. I'm fine. I do try to give that deference and understanding, but it does weirdly, you know, who actually probably does it best is Southwest. Like with their boarding procedures, people kind of know, oh, I'm in the B group, I better stay seating because this is the A group. But
and there's also like nowhere to stand because everyone's got a specific number assigned, so it's already crammed with all those people. If you're not in that group, where are you even standing? Just sit.
Yeah.
And of course, all of that's going away in just a few months.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Next, let's talk about some other in-flight behaviors. Some of these, I think, should be easy. Watching videos, listening to music without headphones.
No. I listened to Baby Shark on repeat for 3 hours on a flight once, and it was on full volume. And
that was
everyone
on your own device, though, right?
What? Yeah.
It was your choice.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to really set up my Spotify Wrapped for the year. But everyone was making eye contact with the parents, and they could not have cared less. So, yeah, don't do it, please. spare everyone else's ears.
So this is going to be an interesting one because we have our first kind of disagreement here. And I've actually changed my position. I was totally on Emily's position until very recently. And there's a little bit of nuance to this, but I do not think that there should be kind of just a total ban on that. And here's why. Kids don't wear headphones. You put them on and they just take them off. They kind of throw them. It becomes a distraction. So you can try to get them to watch a device with no noise, but they also it doesn't hold their attention very well. And what I see it as is you kind of have a choice between kid has the device and is hopefully using low volume, not zero, but low. But if you don't allow that, kid's going to be upset and probably throw a tantrum. So which one would you rather have? And if you have your own device and your own headphones, there's plenty of volume levels in the low end of the spectrum that you're not going to notice. Like, yes, I still get upset with like the full volume kid watching Coco Melon. Sadly, I know all the words. That's frustrating. But like, I have also found myself at times too where I'm being scolded by flight attendants on flights because they're like, you must use headphones. And my 1-year-old is next to me watching Coco Melon on a super low volume. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. And she's going to start to get upset. And now all of you are going to wish we could go back. So that's kind of the trade-off. But I feel like I didn't understand that until I was in the situation where I had a kid that doesn't wear headphones, can't understand why the Bluetooth isn't pairing, and without sound starts to throw crackers at people and put their knees in the back of Emily's seat.
True. I, as not a parent, did not have that perspective.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm okay with it for kids. Again, it shouldn't be at full volume. Like, it should be at a volume that's okay for them because it's like, I'm an adult. I have my own AirPods. Like, I have my own stuff. They've got good enough noise canceling to where it should be fine, and that's my responsibility to plan for. If you are an adult or a teenager, if you are someone who is no longer watching Coco Melon, except for the fact that you have kids. Honestly, I don't even know what Coco Melon is. This is the first time I've heard of it.
If you saw it, you'd recognize it.
If you're an adult, like, that same level of responsibility applies with you of if you didn't plan well enough, don't make everyone else have to listen to whatever you're listening to or what you're watching because you forgot to bring headphones. Like, you have to kind of bear that burden, and that's just on you. Like, just read the in-flight magazine, take a nap, don't inconvenience everyone else. With the exception, I have one exception for adults. If you happen to be listening to Take Off, a Points and Miles podcast by 10X Travel on your flight, please, full blast. Make sure everyone is listening.
Yes.
Take it to the flight attendant and have them play it over the intercom during the flight.
Boom.
Yes.
Now we're talking. Yeah, if that's you right now, please disconnect your headphones, turn the volume all the way up. I'll give you just a second. Okay, here we go. Hello, people around the seat of the person whose phone just started making noise. You could have saved a lot of money on this trip if you'd used Points and Miles. You can learn more by going to 10xtravel.com. Check out Take Off, a podcast by 10x Travel. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your flight. Okay, headphones back in. Continue.
Oh, man.
All right. So we had a little bit of a disagreement there. I do think you make a good point, though, Bryce. Like, I'd rather, whatever Coco Melon is, I'd rather have to kind of ignore it via my own headphones and everything than have a child, like, being really, really upset.
Have you guys seen this trend of people bringing, like, no phone, no book, no headphones, no nothing, and just, like, sitting and staring at the in-flight map?
Yeah.
For the entire duration of the flight. You've done that?
Not for the whole flight, but I don't know why that holds my attention, but it does.
Yeah.
I've obviously not done it the whole flight, but I've also done it, especially on long haul flights. Every now and then I've just watched enough movies, but I'm not, like, tired enough to go to sleep, and it's almost just kind of 10-15 minutes of zen. Like, you just have the white noise of the airplane flying through the sky. It's almost like meditative a little bit, but I don't know that I could do it for a whole flight.
Yeah.
No, that's asking a lot. But as a Points and Miles nerd, one of my favorite things to do is open the Flighty app. If you have, like, some sort of internet connection, even through text messaging, you know, watching your own flight, but then watching all the flights that are very near you. And it's kind of like, oh, cool, right next to us there's a plane going from, like, you know, Boston to Zurich. And then I often think to myself, like, how I would book that with points. And, like, I think I'm in the right career here, but, I just like watch them, and it's amazing at how many flights are in the air at any given time, and seemingly to kind of random places. You start thinking like, who's flying from like Raleigh to Paris right now? It's like, well,
Probably Matt.
About 300 people, and they just went by your window at 516 miles an hour.
Yeah. When you get stuck taxiing, you can also pull up Flighty and see that you're just like 50 yards away from the gate, and you're so close, and you're just going to sit there for like 2 hours.
Right, yeah, which in LaGuardia means you have about an hour and a half until takeoff.
Yeah.
It's funny. That was literally me in Ethiopia on the way to the Seychelles, because our flight was delayed out of Atlanta, and what was originally a 2-hour connection was we had a 15-minute window to make our connecting flight. And when we landed, I knew that we still had 15 minutes, but it is slowly taxiing past all of the gates, and I'm watching the clock tick down. And of course we go to a remote stand, so we have to get off and get on the bus and be driven in, and by that time it was down to a 2-minute window, and we did not make it.
Yeah.
So
that's when the Flighty app needs to deploy connection time. It's always relaxed or that one should be run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was basically red, and there
was a little hope, probably.
This next one that we've got, let's talk window shade etiquette. And there's a few things on window shade etiquette here. I want us to kind of differentiate between short haul, short haul and long haul. What's the etiquette on short haul? What's the etiquette on long haul? While most people are trying to sleep, for example. Should you keep it closed during those sleeping hours? But what if your jet lag plan has you trying to stay up, and you feel like having a little bit of natural light from outdoors will help it after they've kind of dimmed the cabin for everyone else to sleep?
No to that one.
Yeah.
That's my take. Is if it's at nighttime and everyone else is trying to sleep and your jet lag plan is interrupting everyone else, that's not my personal preference.
I feel like all of these boil down to weighing the benefit to you versus the impact to others around you.
Yeah.
I am
but with the window shade, that
criminal people
impacts
pleaser.
everyone around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's a period of the flight in which the lights are dimmed and over 40% of the cabin is sleeping, keep your window shade closed. Pretty simple, right? Or if the 5 window shades on either side of you are all doing the same thing and you're not, do that thing, whether open or closed.
So I'm going to throw a specific, literally this scenario is what made me think of this entire episode. This happened on my Emirates flight from Dubai to Houston. I would say it was past the time when you should be sleeping to adjust for jet lag. So it departed at 9 a.m., landed in Houston at 4 p.m. 16-hour flight. So what should your jet lag strategy be? You should be sleeping at the beginning of the flight. Right? That is the strategy I took. They start off by serving you a lunch/dinner. Then they dim the cabins. About 10 to 12 hours into the flight, someone opened their window. Now it's still dark. There's still a lot of people sleeping. And this is what kind of made me think about it, because I was annoyed. I wasn't trying to sleep, right? I wasn't trying to sleep because I slept early on in the flight, because that made more sense for the time zone adjustments. So I was kind of asking myself, in this specific scenario, is it okay? Because the general strategy you should be taking is sleeping at the beginning of this flight. We're well past that kind of sleeping window, and now we're in the trying to stay awake phase. Even though there's still people sleeping, is it okay, even though your strategy probably should be trying to stay awake at this point?
I feel how many people on the plane are thinking about the strategy from that standpoint? Because I don't know about you, Emily, but my sleeping strategy on planes is you stay awake until the bar cart stops coming around, and then you go to sleep. And I think that's pretty much what most people do.
Yeah, I can't say I've really spent a lot of time thinking about my jet lag strategy. I usually I'm whatever happens, happens.
Oh
and this
gosh.
is alarming to Travis, I can tell.
I'm in that same boat.
So I would never be in the position of it's okay that person opened their window because they've completed their jet lag plan. Like, I would just be like, please close it, because I've been up, watching Finding Nemo for the third time on my flight to Australia, and I'm tired.
Is this on your device here? Or is this the kid next to you?
No, this is me.
Okay, there we go.
This is just like shocking to me that you just don't try to plan your jet lag. You just like you're just like, whatever, I'll sleep whenever they tell me to sleep or something.
Yep.
I don't think they tell you to sleep. That'd be a pretty authoritarian airline. If you're not doing the cabin lights, go to sleep.
I mean, to be fair, I did think in this specific example, even though I understood this person's approach, I disagreed with it. Putting all of the context together, it's Emirates, it's the A380. There's a bar back there with the windows open. So if you want that natural light, you can go and get it elsewhere without disturbing other people. That's not something that you always have. And I would say in general, I'm on the side of, if people are trying to sleep, just leave it closed. There's other methods whereby you can try to stay up, right? Turn on your light above you if you want the light. That's less disturbing to other people. It might be annoying to the people in the immediate vicinity a bit, but it's like, that's kind of what that light is there for. It's less disturbing. Drink some coffee. I know that there are some people who might be opposed to that. Just like hype yourself up on the caffeine.
Travis, I actually employ that Emirates strategy everywhere, not just on planes. Like when I'm looking for natural light, I head back to the bar. Hey.
But let's talk short haul, right? What's window etiquette to you on short haul flights?
I think
right? Especially like daytime flights.
Yeah, it depends what position the sun is in. If I'm gonna get blinded by someone opening their window, that's tough. But I also think like it's nice to look out the window. You potentially paid for a window seat, so like if it's not overnight, then do your thing, I guess. I'm just a windows down pretty much all the time because I never sit in the window seat, so I'm just like, keep it down. It's bright.
Yeah, I feel like for me, short haul window etiquette, there's pretty much is none, with one small exception that like when you're flying over like a particularly noteworthy place, I feel like it's polite to open it. If the captain's like, on the left, you'll see the Grand Canyon, and you're not sleeping, and everyone else has their window shades open, I feel like it's kind of polite to be like, hey, I would like to see the Grand Canyon. Please open your window.
Yeah.
Or like flying over Manhattan or like the Golden Gate Bridge, like, But when we're anywhere between basically Pennsylvania and Colorado before Denver, I don't care.
Even landing in Denver is like, oh, I thought I would see some mountains here, but I guess not.
It's because you're still like 45 miles out of the city, it seems.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm short haul. It's whoever's in the window seat. Like, you got the window seat. It's for you to decide. If I wanted to care about it, I would pick
sit in the window seat. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one place where I will ask people is during takeoff and landing. I do, like, if someone closes it, I ask them to open it.
I think they make you do that now, right? It's a safety thing.
No, I mean, internationally, there's a number of places they do, but here in the U.S., I don't see them requiring it. But I will ask during takeoff and landing. For some reason, and this is just me personally, takeoff and landing, if I don't have the outside point of reference, it just like throws off my body's equilibrium a bit, and it's uncomfortable. But like the rest of the flight, it's fine. So I'll ask someone, and usually don't find people give me any pushback. I'm just like, hey, just for takeoff, landing, do you mind? But otherwise,
promptly take off their shoe and use their foot to open it for you, and then it's like, wait, no, not like that.
But I mean, if they don't, they don't, and it's fine because it's like what they chose. But I'll tell you what gets me is when people's are like looking at their phone or tablet or whatever, and someone else has the window open and it's glaring off of that straight into my eyes. Oh.
Yep. The glare.
Hit him with the air duct.
Bryce really has beef with the air duct.
Yeah, that's your only weapon.
Right. You're like, I don't have to talk to you. So if anyone ever sees Bryce on an airplane and all of a sudden you feel cold, you
feel my presence. You're doing something I don't like.
Let's deplane. Let's talk about in the airport a little bit. Security line. You're in pre-check. Right, I'll throw that out there. You're in pre-check, and for some reason you're wearing extra, this is yet another story, and I'm sorry if you're a listener, but like I was in security and this person we were in pre-check and they had like 5 metal bracelets on both of their wrists, plus a watch, plus a necklace, and they're waiting until they're at the scanner taking their bag off to start taking everything off and putting it in the bag, and clearly like slowing everything down. And is that okay? If you're in pre-check, should you just know what the expectations are and be prepared whenever you get to the scanner?
Even
as
if you're
best
not in
you
pre-check,
can.
I feel like that should be kind of a general expectation, right?
I don't think pre-check is like a special thing anymore. Like so many people have it that I don't expect anyone to necessarily know. Because you can just buy it, right? It's not like it comes with experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although we could propose that they modify like the criteria, so you have to pass a basic test.
Yeah.
It's like driver school. You got to watch the video. Like, what did Travis do wrong in this video? Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is it annoying that they did that? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't have a strong take on that.
Man, see, I feel so strongly about this one of like, it's funny because if you're in regular, I feel like the expectations should be low. If you're not in pre-check, and sometimes I end up in there because I just forget to put my pre-check number on and I don't want to go back and have them add it. The expectation's low. Like, you're probably not a frequent traveler. That's okay. But if you're in pre-check, even if you paid for it, why are you paying for it if you're not traveling frequently enough for it to be worth it?
Because you have a credit card that credits you and it doesn't matter.
Although I guess it's still an advantage if you're taking off the 8 bracelets, whatever. Imagine if that person also had to take off their shoes, which are probably like the knee-length boots that are laced all the way up, and had to take the 7 laptops out of their bag that they travel with.
I just think I hold people in the pre-check line to a higher standard. I have less tolerance for it than Emily, apparently. And I just feel like you should be more prepared.
That situation always feels like when you're like at like Chipotle or Starbucks or some super common place and the person in front of you is like, like, what do you want? Like, is the macchiato good? Like, dude, order it. Like, say the words, don't say any other words, and move on. Like,
that's how I feel when I go to Taco Bell. There's just too many options and I never know what to order. So now they have chicken nuggets, so I guess that helps.
Ooh, are they good?
I haven't had them yet.
Well, maybe we'll do an episode where we're live reviewing Taco Bell chicken nuggets.
Maybe.
What's your take on people bringing hot food like chicken nuggets onto a plane?
Ooh.
It depends on the smell. Like, it shouldn't, if it's got a strong odor, like shouldn't be bringing tuna fish. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big tuna lover. I love a good like tuna fish salad, especially on a sandwich. Oh man, like that slaps.
Agree. Yeah.
But bringing it on an airplane, nah. Like, you can bring your Subway, you can bring, a burger that you bought there, but like if you went to Panda Express in the airport, you should be eating that before you get on board.
I think a simple rule is if you wouldn't microwave it in the company, in the workplace office, you shouldn't bring it on a plane.
Yeah, but like I work from home, so I'd microwave anything.
Travis is out here
Like
microwaving his
That doesn't
tuna
work
sandwich.
after 2020.
Loophole, Bryce.
Boom.
In general, I think that it's just safer not to. I understand sometimes the flight times don't align with it, but it's like just make a conscious choice. Even stuff like barbecue that I think smells good. It's the fact that it just kind of radiates throughout and everyone is able to smell it. If someone 2 rows back can smell your food, then it's too strong and you should have picked something else.
Agreed.
And then it just gets recycled through the plane air for 3 hours while you sit there.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that happens, like hopefully someone just takes their shoes off and then they've got stinky feet and that's covering up the smell, or just blending together.
Yeah.
Just walk up and down the aisle with it. Make sure you waft it like a ceremonial scent.
I think that's kind of all that I've got on my list. So let's say you're in this. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, any missing pet peeves that we missed? I feel like I could probably rattle off a few here.
Go for him.
Yeah.
If I have like a couple seconds to think, I'm trying to organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
I guess two more. One, under no circumstances should the seat in front of you be used as an arm or like a handle or a rail of sorts. Like I'm just sitting there watching my show, enjoying my flight, and then get pulled back, pulled out because the person behind you is like, I'm going to walk up. Two, take your backpack off when you're boarding the plane so that you don't turn to your friend and smack me in the face.
Oh, yes.
I feel like three is another new one that I've kind of come around to as a parent, as I say. But like within reason, don't like roll your eyes or give dirty looks to parents whose kids are kind of freaking out because they're already having a hard enough time and clearly they don't like that either. And that makes it worse. I think that a lot of people have this kind of mindset of like, if you just like gave them the pacifier, they'd stop crying. Like they probably know their kids better than you do. But there is an exception to that. The parents who just decide that this is like the restaurant where they let their kids go run around and play deserve scorn because like when your kid's watching something at full volume or just like literally throwing things and kicking the seat in front of you, you have to take prompt action or at least appear to as a parent to try to stop that because you can't, like that's not fair to other passengers. If you order hot coffee, you do not spill a single drop of that. Like you must be very careful when ordering hot coffee.
This is not necessarily a faux pas, but something I've done multiple times, and now I just have to think about it every time, which is if you bring a water bottle that has a straw and you open it at however 10,000 plus feet in the air, it will rocket water out of the top at you and your seatmates. So
when
don't
someone
do that.
reclines in front of you, that's your second retaliatory weapon.
Imagine if you've got the air vent on them and then you cover them in water. Now they're cold. They're extra cold and chilled.
Yeah.
And if they don't get the message, I'm ordering the breakfast with the yogurt, and I'm just going to hold that up too, because we all know when you pop that, it's
Yeah. Oh, you always got to turn that away from you when opening that yogurt.
Should I just directly tell people about my concerns or continue to be passive aggressive? Yeah, I'm going to continue to be passive aggressive.
Another water bottle related one is I just saw Travis, you drinking one from something that doesn't necessarily close all the way.
Yeah.
Like if you travel with that, you better make sure it doesn't spill on your seatmates.
Yep.
Like the Stanleys, they're just going to tip over and dribble everywhere. Bring something with a real lid.
Oh, I've got one. When people take multiple seats to like spread out and sleep.
I was about to say, take up as little space as you need.
Yeah.
Like a library.
If it's not that crowded, I get it, right? But I was in the Turkish Airlines lounge in Istanbul, and it seemed like every pair of seats this was a few years ago, was pushed together with people sleeping in them. And despite being a big lounge, it's just a busy lounge. It's their hub, so there's a lot of people there. And you had to walk. I felt like I was walking laps just trying to find somewhere to sit. It's like, just make that space. Or similarly, if it's crowded and you and if you're traveling with one other person or sitting across from each other, but there's two seats next to each other, someone just move, sit next to each other, act like you like each other. It's less uncomfortable for someone else who's looking for some place to sit than them having to sit beside you.
I have a new lounge one. Leave a tip. If you are in there and you have filled a table with plates, everything, and you get up and leave without leaving a tip, that just feels kind of like slide of $10. Like that's the least you can do, especially you're in the lounge, everything else is included. Leave a tip.
I have one for you, Bryce, because this is coming from me as not a parent that I just remembered. So many of these obviously come from stories, right? And so I'm interested to get a parent's perspective on this. We were flying from Atlanta to Ethiopia, and we were in the lounge there. There was a family of, I think, 4 in the area next to us, and kids were maybe like 3 to 5. I don't know. I'm bad with kids' ages, so they might have been like 2. It's like they're in bands, right? It's like they're 0 to 2, and then like 2 to 5, then like 5 to 7 for me in my perspective. So they were they were on the younger side of things, right? Had some Cheerios. When they left, the seats in the floor were just covered in
Yep.
Cheerios that were spilled and thrown everywhere. Murray and I went and picked them up because we were like, this is just, we don't even want to be sitting next to this. Should you clean up your own mess if you cause one like that, or your kids? Because like sometimes I feel like maybe I'm being too critical as not a parent, but I don't know, just kind of felt like a little bit of etiquette there to clean up after yourself, make it easy on the staff. Don't like make their lives harder.
For sure. I feel like that rule should not delineate between any humans.
Yeah.
Clean up after yourself within reason before you leave.
Yeah.
Good
That's just a
advice.
life rule.
Yeah.
Wow, that's probably a good one. Like don't expect the person, well, the cleaning crew to clean up after you. If you went without your shoes, just wipe it down after the flight with your little thing that they give you. At least that United gives you. I know that United still gives you the little cleaning wipe. So
Just
maybe that's
walk
for,
across the Cheerios barefoot and then walk onto the plane with all the crumbs. Perfect.
well, if you're ever in these situations and you feel like someone's committing a travel faux pas, amazing. What a few tips to help handle these situations. Either spill your water and change the air vent all over them, or, try just communicating politely, saying, hey, do you mind turning down the volume? And if they say no, be really thrown off by why someone would have the courage to say no after you had to do something.
Turn up your own volume. It's a competition now.
Yep.
Did we just open the door for pictures of us to be taken committing faux pas and posted on the net?
Probably.
Because there's definitely going to be a picture of me standing at, like, being a gate lice, and it's going to be like, yo, add Bryce, just you? Like, uh-oh.
Yeah, better be on our best
she's
But I
behavior.
was
Yeah.
group one.
Yeah.
It's like, I was group one.
That's right.
Another tip, just seems like the kind of general trend is have empathy, right? Yeah, the window might be yours to control, but if everyone else is sleeping, just have some consideration for other people. And of course, just travel prepared. You, at the end of the day, you can't control other people's behaviors, so having some noise canceling headphones to help drown out those sounds, as well as an eye mask to help with light if you're trying to sleep. And actually, we got new eye masks that instead of like having the stretchy elastic, it's like a solid soft piece that wraps around and velcros closed, so much more comfortable for flying as well.
Like a turtleneck, basically? Or like, sorry, one of the ski neck warmers?
No, it is just like an eye mask, but it just kind of comes around like this part of your face and it just velcros in the back, so that way like you don't have the elastic like pulling and irritating on the back of your ears.
Do you have solid color, or did you go the fun design? Because I'm picturing like a Batman mask. It'd be pretty sweet.
I went solid black, but I probably could.
I mean, that's pretty.
Get a
That's
vinyl
pretty
sticker.
Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty Batman.
I don't know. Maybe we'll drop a link in the show notes for it.
I want you to wear it to open the next episode for the YouTube folks.
Oh no, it's upstairs. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I've got it around here somewhere, but it's upstairs. So, end of the day, just travel prepared. There's plenty of easy ways where you can mitigate other people's nuisances, so that way you can just watch out for yourself instead of having to rely on other people to be good travelers. Not much you can do about them grabbing the back of your seat, but it is what it is.
Air vent.
Yeah,
Air vent after you splash them with your water bottle with the straw. So maybe you should always take a water bottle with the straw.
I feel
I'm
like
just dividing it among the many people around me who are upsetting me.
Bryce is about to invent like an adapter that lets you control and point the air vent in different directions. 3 rows up.
I gotta go. I got something to do.
Well, we want to hear from you. Do you disagree with us? Are we wrong? Let us know what of our travel faux pas you disagree with in the comments. Whether this is a reel on Instagram that someone else is watching on the plane. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Wherever it is, let us know whether you disagree with us. Are there any that we missed that you think we should have been covered? Let us know. We're excited to hear from you and how strongly you either agree or disagree with us on some of these takes, because I actually thought we would be split on more of these. which kind of surprised me. But so share your own stories. Of course, if you let us know if you like this type of content. Sometimes we just try to have fun with it and not always necessarily be sharing points and miles tricks. But if you feel that is a faux pas in and of itself, let us know. Yeah. But please rate and review us, subscribe, leave us 5 stars. As let me channel my inner Bryce. Whenever you leave us a 5-star review, it's one of the few times where you can click 5 stars and not be asked to leave a tip afterwards. So,
but if you want to leave a tip, we'll gladly share our memo info.
Yeah. And of course, check out 10xtravel.com as well as My 10x, our web-based tool to help manage your points and miles seamlessly. Check out our 10x Travel Insiders Facebook community, where you can chat with over 350,000 other people about things like travel faux pas and why we are all incredibly wrong on these. Yep. I think the only other faux pas was me thinking that I was as good at hosting this as Bryce is.
You did great. You did great. I kind of like this. We should do this more. Yeah. Get weaving at the end, and don't commit a credit card faux pas by using the wrong card or a bad points and miles strategy. We can help you out at 10xtravel.com. Yeah.
Look at that! Yeah, I think that's all. I'll give another reminder for our meetups. April will be Houston and Chicago. May will be Columbus. Is it June is San Diego, San Francisco, and Seattle. And then later this year, we'll have some East Coast dates in October. I believe DC and Atlanta, with maybe one other city thrown in there as well. So
please keep your shoes on at the meetups.
And we'll add those into the show notes below, so that way you can easily find to come meet some of us in person. So for Bryce, pretending to be me sometimes, for Emily and for myself, this is Takeoff, Points and Miles Travel by 10x Travel, and we will talk to you soon.